rather, what I want you to do is consider this as an alternative of what may actually be happening. I think there's a lot going on, obviously, with COVID that meets the eye, stuff that is below the surface. As far as people's reaction, this is a big psychological experiment that we can kind of dissect, and we will be dissecting for many years to come. And by that, when I mean talking about the psychological experience, is that everybody has their reasoning for acting in the way that they are acting in response to this supposed pandemic. Doesn't matter where you're at on the aisle, what side of the aisle that you're on. So to act as if it's just clear cut would be disingenuous, would be dishonest, and you'd have to be an absolute brainlet that is just completely ignoring all context clues in order to pretend as if what we see, and or rather, not even that, it is less about what you see or what you are told is the truth. There's nothing else beyond that. Definitely when you're dealing with millions upon millions of people, because this is something that is worldwide at this point. But I do want to speak about America because it's in a rather unique situation, mainly because with the states and their kind of different responses to it, it makes for even more of a line, let's say, that's drawn in the sand in reaction to whatever the upcoming policy is, depending on their governor or local government, whatnot. You get it. But one thing I think that you should be considering as a possibility, specifically with this, just absolute push towards jabbing of their neighbors. And this is something I want to put on your mind, because after speaking with many different people on this subject, this is what I've come to a conclusion to. So maybe you've come to this conclusion as well. I've talked about this before. I'm going to reiterate. There are people that were coerced, maybe shamed, maybe the inconvenience that would come with it, into getting a vaccine pertaining to COVID-19. Whichever one, it's not important. They got one, but they got it out of reluctancy. And by that, I'm not meaning necessarily like they like, oh, I don't want to get it. It's more of, okay, I got it, but that sense of or feel of freedom, righteousness, justice is not with them. Maybe they thought they were going to get it. They didn't get it. Some have it before, reluctant to get it in the first place. I think let's just, for the sake of conversation, put these guys in the same pool of those types who are right now, screaming at you and screeching that you should get jabbed up. I do believe, after talking to so many people, that there are a lot of folks who have needed some things to be, true. The transmission stuff, we found out that, well, as it comes to being a carrier, they didn't find much difference between, when it came to this Delta variant, between folks that were vaccinated and unvaccinated. I think you need to understand why that's so grim for a lot of those people. Why is that such bad news for them? Well, it's because it completely strips them of one thing that they were acting as if gave them the moral high ground. They no longer have that. They're just as likely a super spreader as someone else that didn't get vaccinated. But when you are reluctant to do something, or you feel some kind of way after it has been done, misery loves company is the quote that you've heard kind of associated with this, with what it is that I'm saying. But I do believe that there are people that have gotten it, and they feel some kind of way about folks that, not just the jab itself, but the reason why they're so extra with pushing for this jab for something with a 99% survival rate is because they don't like the fact that there are individuals that still exist within this world that have been able to, let's say, not get it and continue to live their lives. So whether it's jealousy, whether it's just being discontent about the whole situation, I don't really want to, I don't know what the term is to describe them, and maybe it's a bit of all of it or one of the other, depending on which individual you're talking about. But you get it, what it is that I'm saying, where they feel some kind of way about the idea that there are people that did not get coerced, did not get shamed, did not have to line up to get a jab. And definitely as more news comes out about this, and it's just not working in the way that they said it was going to work, despite having vaccines available. That person feels as if you need to be in on this, and they will pull every single stop. I mean, they don't have a lot of stops left, right? Again, they just got neutered by one just not too long ago, even by their beloved CDC, the people that they say that we're supposed to listen to because they are the experts that just want to help people. Those types are in trouble because they listen to them, and the CDC themselves have said, definitely after what happened in well, it's Massachusetts, if I'm not mistaken, where they're finding that due to their study, well, yeah, they're still carrying it no matter if they have the vaccine or not. They're still carrying it. Still likely to pass it. But remember, they're saying now, though they said it before, just a little more now, so it gives you a reason to get the jab, is that they got it, and it's supposed to just suppress more of these symptoms. Which, again, that can get a little confusing as well. And I'm seeing that because the virus, it would be a lot more clear if the virus wasn't was far more lethal than what it is, but because it's not, and even without a vaccine or without just in general, considering all people early on, even in the pandemic, most people that get this are not going to need hospitalizations, and most people that get this are not going to die. That's just what their own data shows. So I believe that folks that have been able to hold the line, that fucking aggravates these people, man. They're upset. And like I said, misery loves company, man. It does. And that sounds like insane, but you gotta understand, we're dealing with deranged people. All of this moral grandstanding that so many tried to do, surrounding the virus, surrounding masks, of course, as well. But, let's talk about the virus in general, man. All the moral grandstanding that they've attempted to do. And they, one by one, continue to get stripped of a talking point because it doesn't work out the way that they claim that it was supposed to work out. So what other way than to ensure that, because they're getting to the point to where we don't have anything else to fall back on. We need you guys to be, vaccinated. Now, like I said, dude, if you feel like this is something that you want to do, by all means, that's your business. Never once have I ever done a video saying and claiming that you shouldn't get vaccinated. I've never made that claim. I'd never make that claim. That's your business. My only problem is that you think that, or rather when you lie about the results of something, or you are, as we're starting to see in places around the world and even in this country, when you consider New York City, where people want to use acts of aggression upon people for the sake of getting for vaccines, like that's a problem. And I have issues with you, and you are my fucking enemy if you think that it's acts of aggression or get the jab, so it's coercive. You're my enemy, and I'm okay with saying that. You've made it clear that I'm yours, okay? But I've never told anybody not to get it. That's not my thing. But the fact that there's so many folks advocating for these vaccine mandates tells you all that you need to know. Saying like definitely people that never gave a fuck about you, right? Because of the way maybe you voted or way that you didn't vote, in my case. All of a sudden give a damn whether you live or die. You think this is because they care so much about the health of the people. That's why they're doing that. Of course not. No, there's something else at play here. And I think with a decent amount of folks, they are starting to project. It's more of a act of reluctancy that they have, or at a state of reluctancy that they're perpetually at. And maybe they themselves had to take an L. Maybe they themselves got coerced. Maybe they themselves got shamed into getting it. And then there are those like myself who exist, who I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be in a position where my bacon, I don't work for an entity, right? So my bacon does not depend on whether or not I have to get a job, I have a job or retain a job by way of them. And, you know, unfortunately, a lot of people felt that way and are in that situation. Job, pressured by the government, and they're saying that you and all these guys need to be vaccinated. Man, ain't that something else, huh? And I'm going to end on this note. This lets you know, again, let's talk about the psychological stuff, the philosophical stuff, if you will, not just the science or the medical aspect of it, which, I mean, I guess those kind of intertwine in some aspects. Imagine an industry that was, or they said, were so overwhelmed as they were pop locking and dropping it on TikTok. But they were so overwhelmed and stressed out that now they're having these sort of requirements, ultimatums that says if you work in this industry, medical, hospital, then you must be vaccinated or you will be without a job. That doesn't sound like an industry to me that is on the brink of being overwhelmed at fucking all. That sounds like that will be the complete opposite of what you would do. You need whoever you can get, right? It's almost as if there's something else at play here. And to act like you, or this is where the gaslighting comes in. They act like anybody that questions this or looks at it in a more larger context is a crazy fucking person, conspiracy theorist. And I think those actually are the guys who are for sure projecting, because they have believed false narratives time and time and time again, narratives that have been completely debunked top to fucking bottom. And God forbid there's a group of people that have said, you know what? I'm starting to figure this shit out for what it actually is. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.